Hey, what is up, movie review mom fans? Thanks for joining me here. And if this is your very first time visiting my YouTube channel, yay, you're here. You made it. I hope you like what you see and I hope you stay. My goal here is to give parents and families a heads up on movie making quality and content so that you can make the best decision for yourself as to whether or not you want to spend your time and money watching a specific movie. Be sure and click on this little bell when you subscribe. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, subscribe. Anyway, that little bell is a notification that will let you know whenever I post new movie reviews and trailer reactions. All right, let's dive in. The movie I'm reviewing today is called Cruella. This Disney live action origin story is only available on Disney Plus on May 28th, 2021. It's rated PG-13, which is definitely a stronger rating than the original animated movie that this movie is based on. It's 2 hours and 14 minutes long, which is a pretty long movie. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell where I'll point out things I liked and didn't like or thought could be improved upon. I'll give you tips for parents, movie recommendations, and then some themes that are worth talking about with your family if you choose to watch this together. Okay, so in a nutshell, Disney's origin story of anti-hero Cruella de Vil is directed by Craig Gillespie, who's known for making artistic films that are edgy with dark humor, like I, Tanya, which was a hilarious movie with fantastic performances that definitely got attention during the Academy Awards season. The time period of this movie is set in London in the 1970s during the punk rock revolution. The movie itself is stunning to look at, although I kind of have mixed feelings about the moral messages that Disney is trying to say in this live action telling of how an age old villain is simply misunderstood. I'll talk more about that in just a minute. So, first, the things that I liked. The list is very long because the movie is really well executed. First of all, Disney's casting of the two Oscar winning Emmas is brilliant. Emma Stone is absolutely fantastic as Cruella, and she's just mesmerizing in every film that she's in and every scene that she's in this movie. She's also one of the executive producers of this film. There's a moment where she's driving that famous car of hers where she actually looks like the cartoon figure. She's kind of driving down like that. And I was like, yes. This take on her character gives her kind of the flair of a comic book villain, I thought. I also adore Emma Thompson and have forever because she's so talented and awesome. I'll watch anything that she's in just because I respect and admire her so much. She has never looked more stunning. She has never looked more gorgeous than she does as a fashion icon in this movie. There's a little bit of the Devil Wears Prada flair in both in the fashion and what it feels like to work for a terribly self-obsessed boss. Cruella also takes lessons from the insane, rebellious, and hilarious Harley Quinn from Birds of Prey. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. This film just is beautiful to look at. It's stylish, colorful, and so different from what you probably anticipated from Disney. Tipper Sivert Cleveland plays the young Estella, soon to be Cruella, and she does a really great job too. I expect to see a lot more of her in the future. Some delicious slow motion scenes are in the movie, and I always get a kick out of those. There are beautiful images of England with impressive production design and some really fun camera angles and cinematography. There's also a no cut scene, which is a style that requires impressive coordination and always grabs my attention. The great soundtrack features popular songs from the 1970s and provides a lot of energy. Some people will say too much for some of the scenes, but I just thought it was really enjoyable. There are also a few nods to the original cartoon. For example, Horace mentions that he notices how dogs look a lot like their masters, which refers to that opening sequence in the original animated movie, a classic sequence. And I've loved it ever since I watched it as a little girl. And I have noticed that animals, especially dogs, often look like their masters. In another scene, you get to see Jasper and Horace watching TV with some of the Dalmatian puppies, just like in the animation. Joel Fry and Paul Wattler-Hauser do a great job bringing those goofy and loyal sidekicks to life. The movie trailer does an excellent job hiding some of the big twists in the movie. So that impressed me because some things happened and I was like, oh, I didn't anticipate that. I also love Glenn Close, who played the very first live action Cruella de Vil in 101 Dalmatians. And she's also an executive producer in this movie. So I thought that was awesome. When the first trailer aired, film critics instantly compared the Joaquin Phoenix version of Joker to this movie, which gave us an origin story for a very misunderstood movie villain. So let us not forget all of the terrible things that he has done, or the fact that Cruella de Vil kills puppies and uses their skins in her fashion designs. Now, in this movie, someone thinks that she does, but she doesn't. But in the animated cartoon, we know that she does. So I'm just a little worried that kids are going to think Cruella is awesome and fun and forgivable, forgetting that she really is kind of a monster. Speaking of fashion, fashion lovers will really enjoy all of the beautiful clothes created by the wonderful costume design team. There's a certain dress that reminded me of the magical gown in the Hunger Games. I think it was episode Mockingjay. I think it was in the second episode. So cool. I was kind of surprised to see villainous action star Mark Strong cast as kind of a lowly butler, but he added a nice, elegant touch to the role. And actually, because he has a reputation of being a bad guy, it made sense who he was a butler for. Here's a fun fact number one. The sound of the horn on the truck that Cruella drives to the jail is the exact same as the car horn in the original cartoon. I love that when the directors of live action remakes really go back to the source material and try to incorporate some of those things. So, fun fact number two, despite the fact that Cruella de Vil is British, she's never actually been played by an English actress. Weird, huh? So keep watching the very stylish rolling credits at the end of the film for another quick scene. And there's already a plan underway for a sequel. So are you ready for that? Most people are shouting, yes, please. Now, there were some things that I didn't like or thought could have been handled a little bit better. First of all, it is a very dark and edgy Disney movie. Now, some kids may never have seen the original, in which case they don't really know very much about the Cruella de Vil character. The subject matter and the humor is very dark too. So, just a heads up on that for parents. You don't get to see the famous Cruella de Vil car very much. There's also a car chase scene that isn't shot very well. You just kind of see quick tires and that's kind of it. So that was disappointing. If they do a remake, I'm sure it will be featured in that because now this character has been established. So, my big concern about this movie really is what is Disney trying to say? That there really isn't evil in the world, just misunderstood people. So, as I said, children may fall in love with this rebellious style of Cruella and think it's okay because she's had a rough childhood. And the danger lies in their trying to emulate her behavior. So, does that give people permission to do evil things if you've had a rough childhood? So I want to know what you think. Comment down below if any of that kind of bothered you or if you just thought it was all good fun. So recently, one of my classmates from high school actually shot and killed 9 people in San Jose, California. I don't know if you've heard about that, but that was my high school, my classmate. So needless to say, we have all been horrified and really saddened to see what he had become and what he had done with his life, and how he had let anger and bitterness really blind his decision making. As I've been having conversations on Facebook and through email threads with classmates, we've talked about how people who are hurting inside often hurt other people. So let that be a reminder to all of us to be more kind to those around us. And then finally, requiring viewers to purchase Disney Plus as a monthly membership, and then also hitting them up to pay for the movie just seems greedy. We saw them do it with Mulan and other movies, and I think it's just frustrating for viewers, and especially during the pandemic when a lot of people have been hurting financially. All right, so let me give you some quick tips for parents in addition to the ones that I just said. There is portrayal of dishonesty, crime, stealing, someone dies. And while Disney has hinted for years that some of their characters might be from the LGBT plus community, Artie is a character in this movie who was very much a rainbow flying man, played by John McCrea. The killer instinct is considered desirable among some characters. Issues of child abandonment are portrayed. There's talk of murder, there's portrayal of murders. Animal cruelty is talked about. There's some violence, property damage, and some bullying and name calling. Now, the movie is probably a little too long for really young kids who might start to get bored as the plot thickens towards the end. We also see a man wrapped in a towel just out of the shower. A woman gets drunk, and we see other people drinking alcohol and making bad decisions. So, some themes that are definitely worth talking about with your kids are cruelty versus kindness, family, legacy, genetics, revenge, mentors, fashion, choices and consequences of our choices, and even the 5 stages of grief of losing a family member. All of those are portrayed really well in the movie. So whenever I watch movies, I write down the funny lines and interesting lines so I can share them with you and give you a little flavor of the film. I include all of them in my written review at moviereviewmom.com, but I'll just share a couple of them with you here right now. So one of the funny lines that I just thought was random was when Cruella DeVille is talking and she says, "A well-cut skirt is a lifesaver. Remember that, girls." Now, there's more to why she says that, but I don't want to give you any spoilers. And then here's one of the interesting lines of the movie spoken by the Baroness, who is played deliciously by Emma Thompson. She says, "I can't care about anyone else. Everyone is an obstacle." And so there's that attitude. And at one point, Cruella DeVille's younger character admires that and relates to that. And so I think that that's definitely worth talking about with your family after you watch this movie. All right, now with all of that, I want to enthusiastically give this movie an A because I thought it was so well done and extremely entertaining, but just with that little warning to parents about some of the content and how it's handled. All right, so before we go, let me give you some movie recommendations for other films that are somewhat similar that I think you'll also enjoy. Of course, the very first one is to watch the original 100 Dalmatians and even the live action with Glenn Close. Now, I immediately thought of the live action Disney movie of Maleficent, which I actually really enjoyed. I loved the world building in that movie, and I thought the story was told really well, and it really did give us some insight on this misunderstood villain. I enjoyed it, but some people didn't because they didn't like that misunderstood element that watered down the strength of a villain. And that happens in this movie of Cruella as well. And then finally, as I mentioned before, this movie instantly made me think of The Devil Wears Prada. Now, it's not a Disney remake, live action, or anything like that, but it has somewhat similar characters that are involved and just such a great fun movie. All right, that's it for my review. I hope if you watch this movie that you have a great time, that you enjoy it, and that I will catch you in my next movie review. Thank you so much for all of your support. Be sure and join me in my Facebook group called, guess what? Movie Review Mom. And you can now find me on Instagram as Movie Review Mom as well. All right, have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.